Welcome to this beautiful nature view behind me. I've got the breeze blowing through my hair, the bird song in the background. I'm at a retreat center in Portugal, and I thought it would be the perfect time to lead a meditation on considering and contemplating our sound diet. Now you may be like, what is a sound diet, Rebecca? Well, many of us are aware of what our daily diet is, what food we're putting in our mouths. In fact, some of us are very particular about this. You don't eat carbs, you are gluten-free, you are very specific about the type of milk that you drink with your coffee. But sound is all around us. From the very moment that we wake up in the morning, the sound that wakes us up, to the sounds that we hear throughout the day, whether we're aware of it, the music that we listen to, the podcasts that we listen to, and also just the ambient sounds that are around us. All of it deeply affects the mind, right? There was a study done where there were 3 different plants, and one plant was spoken to with very positive, very upgrading words, had very upgrading music. One plant had no sound at all. And the other plant had very degrading sounds, degrading music, words spoken to it. And as you can probably imagine, the plant that was spoken to very sweetly and kindly was thriving. The plant that wasn't spoken to at all was doing okay. And then the plant that was spoken to negatively was dying. So if you can imagine a plant being so deeply affected by sound, now start to consider yourself. And I'd like us to do an exercise on contemplating the sounds that we hear on the daily, and thinking about how they affect us, our mental state, our bodies, and then perhaps we can create more discernment about the sounds that we choose to hear, the people that we choose to be around, right? We know that if we're around someone who is positive, uplifting, inspiring, we ourselves take on that energy. Same with words that are degrading, hearing a bunch of no's, hearing someone that's always complaining, right? That also affects us. So I'm going to invite you to find a comfortable seat. Again, you can always sit up with your back up against a wall or a chair, but just make sure that the spine is nice and tall. Let the hands rest comfortably on the lap or the thighs. And just begin by bringing your awareness, before we do anything else, to any external sounds. I'm near farmland, so you may hear the occasional, bird song, but also sound of a farm. Wherever you are, you may be in a city, you may be in the country, hearing those sounds that are not controllable. These are our ambient sounds. And then feel as if you could turn the dial down on these ambient sounds. So you just become aware of your physical body. And let's start with the right foot. From the toes to the heel, your right foot is rooted into the ground like the roots of a tree. The left foot grounded. Right leg from the ankle to the knee to the hip, unmoving. And the left leg from the ankle to the knee to the hip, still. Bring your awareness to your pelvis. And imagine the pelvis, the bowl of the pelvis, holding water. And you don't want to spill this bowl of water, so keeping the pelvis stable. Awareness to the right hand. From the fingers to the wrist, the right hand is quiet. Left hand from the fingers to the wrist, frozen. And the entire right arm, so from the wrist to the elbow to the shoulder, unmoving. The left arm, wrist, elbow, shoulder, immovable. Now bring your awareness to the back. Maybe there's a encouragement for a little bit of a taller spine. Trace the attention from the lower back to the mid back and the upper back. The spine is rigid. And your belly. The belly is soft. Bring your attention to the chest. See if you can just make out the subtle heartbeat. The gentle rise and fall of the chest. Now bring your attention to your face. Start with the forehead, eyebrows, eyeballs, ears, cheeks, nostrils, lips, teeth, and tongue, throat, and jaw. The entire face is like a statue. Imagine for a moment that you were a stone statue in the middle of an overgrown garden, like a statue of a Buddha. And do your best to keep from moving. Bring your attention now to the breath at the entrance of the nostrils. Watching, witnessing the breath moving in and out. And now bring your awareness to the space between the eyebrows, the chittakash, the mind space. And I'd like you to contemplate your individual sound diet. So that means from the first sound that you hear when you wake up in the morning. Think about what gets you going in the morning. Maybe you're listening to a podcast or music, or you're talking to your spouse or your children. Think about the sound that you hear throughout the day, whether it's ambient sound, you live in a city, the sounds of your office, the conversations that you have, the podcasts, the music that you listen to, the words of the people that you surround yourself with. And as you contemplate your sound diet, consider how the sounds make you feel. Is the first sound that you listen to in the morning, does it upgrade you? The conversations that you're having throughout the day, does that inspire you? Are you in an environment in which, the ambient sounds, the sounds you can't control, are they distracting? Are they soothing? Are they nurturing? Give yourself a moment to assess your sound diet and its effects on you. And if you've managed to distinguish certain sounds that you feel like degrade you in some way, how could you possibly shift these choices, these sounds? Now, you're not always able to control, the environment that you're in, if you like work in an office, for example, but how could you balance out some of those sounds? What kind of music could you listen to that you feel calm and centered? Perhaps it means less phone time, less screen time, less time watching some kind of television that only adds to more mind chatter. Consider making some better choices for yourself. Contemplate the sounds that come out of your own mouth. Are you speaking words, making sounds that are upgrading or degrading? Like, are you always kind of yelling at your children? Are you always complaining to your partner, to your roommate? How can that shift? How can our own words improve upon the silence? And when you've got some clear vision on what that looks like, how we can make those little adjustments, and it's something so simple, right? If we think about the course of a day, how many things that are out of our control. Again, I cannot control the ambient environment. I can't control the crow in the background or the truck or the tractor rumbling by, but I can control the music that I listen to. I can control perhaps the environments that I choose to be in, right? Am I in a loud nightclub, or am I in a library? Am I in a garden? So finishing this meditation by considering what your favorite sound that you hear on the daily is. Maybe for you it's laughing with your family or your roommate. Or when you take a pause on your daily walk and you get to listen to bird song or the wind kind of whistling through the pines. Or the sound of like the coffee pot, starting to boil over. Mindful of how deeply sound affects us, as it is one of our most subtle senses. And we're going to end by making some quite upgraded sounds. We're going to just take together 3 ohms. So you can choose to bring your palms together at heart center. Draw the spine up a little bit taller. Take a breath in for Om. Again, taking a breath in for Om. Final round, breath in. Start to rub your palms together, creating a little bit of heat between the palms. When the hands are warm, place the right hand gently over the right eye and the left hand gently over the left eye. Blink your eyes open, starting to let in a little bit of light. When you're ready, hands come back to the lap of the thighs. And this concludes our meditation on our sound diet. I highly encourage you to just take a moment, maybe pull out a journal, pen and paper, and just write about your experience in this meditation. Write about the sounds that you listen to throughout the day, and sometimes writing it out is a little bit more helpful. And you can make a mark on the sounds that you feel upgrade you, and you can also mark the sounds that you feel like degrade you. And for the sounds that you can control, right, like the TV shows we watch and the music that we listen to, right, maybe there's some choices that are made so that the sound is constantly upgrading you. I find this such a fascinating topic to consider, so I hope that this meditation was helpful for you and that you have a beautiful rest of your day. Hari Om Tat Sat.